Okay, these are the censored questions and responses for menstruation and menopause. The uncensored one will be on our site because, well, the authorities, we can't have a free and open conversation, but I'll answer these as clear as I can and still get it by the censors. First one is from Danielle Kinderick, 8476. Good afternoon, Dr. B. What supplements or regimen do you recommend to maintain hormonal imbalance, sexual vitality for women over the age of 50 that are menopause due to complete hysterectomies? Okay, when you get that, and understand your adrenal glands produce every hormone. So they're the pharmacy of the body. So missing the ovaries and uterus, then your adrenal glands got to work overtime. And you got to balance between the adrenals and the thyroid. So look at Lugos iodine as a supplement every morning would be ideal. Also, knowing that you're in a stressed state because of the loss of those organs taxing the adrenal glands, look at a plant-based mineral supplement. See, plant-based mineral supplements are going to be the greatest. And then look at healthy fats because you need the fats in order to get the fatty acids to produce the correct hormones. So looking at a ketogenic diet for at least 3 weeks out of the month, that's going to make a big difference. And then look at lots of cruciferous vegetables. Okay, cruciferous vegetables such as cauliflower, broccoli, these are fantastic for helping your body respond to the environment. And then avoid any xenoestrogens. Look at toxic makeup put on the skin. That could be a negative. Look at toxic environmental products, such as things with hormones. Like if you're going to eat animal products, make sure they're hormone free. If you're going to eat dairy, make sure it's raw dairy, void of any hormones. So make sure you have a good, healthy food source, good, healthy fats, iodine supplements, cruciferous vegetables, and minerals. And you're going to thrive on the planet. There's a couple of other ones that you could also use, like black cohosh. That's a good one. Wild Mexican yam is a supplement as well. But I don't want you to get into the idea of just taking supplements for this. Look at the natural body processes, and you're going to thrive. Oh, also, knowing that the hysterectomy has been there, look at pelvic instability. That's going to be one of the keys. So make sure that your pelvis is stabilized. Get to a corrective chiropractor. They're going to get you a trochanter support, but have them check the lumbar as well as the pelvis. Question 2 from Tiny Vineyard. Cause and treatment cure for severe bloating. Also, cold intolerance to the point of wearing 7 sweaters when it's 75 degrees inside the house. I'm 50, started perimenopause about 2 to 3 years ago. Now the beginning stages of menopause. Okay, good. Look at bloating. We figure we've got an automatic nervous system. One part keeps you alive under stress, and that's the sympathetic or fight or flight. When you're in a stress state, and there's only 3 stressors, physical, chemical, and emotional, but all 3 will activate that stress response, decreasing blood supply to the gut. Okay, so chronic state of stress will activate that or slow down gastric motility, causing some types of bloating. Now, that's one source. So physical stress you're going to do by looking at digital and stress x-rays to identify physical stressors. Chemical stressors you can identify on a thermography and a live blood cell analysis. Emotional stressors are going to be there as well, because if you have physical and chemical stressors, there's always going to be an emotional component. So look at our videos on how to deal with those stressors. Then look at also digestive enzymes, because if you're eating food products that your body can't metabolize, that's going to be huge. Papaya, raw papaya with each meal is going to be good. Healthy amounts of fiber. Okay, so look at having a little bit of collagen or fiber before each meal. That'll help increase gastric motility. Dealing with the stress will increase gastric motility, and getting digestive enzymes that will help you break down the nutrients, and that also can help with the bloating. Question 3 From Lexilane 183. I love this new format. I'm so glad because it was scary shifting. Dr. B, what mainstream female cosmetics and lotions are we gonna we avoid going onto our skin, and what should we use instead? Brilliant. Anything you put on your skin, you got to be able to eat. Or, and if you can't find that, okay, look at organic natural products. Now, I went and talked to the expert, my wife, and there's one called Agent Nature, and this seems to be a fairly good brand. You know, but there's going to be a lot of other brands out there. So look at organic, naturally sourced, no animal testing would be a great one. Hypoallergenic would be good, but also look at natural products such as putting coconut oil on the skin or organic olive oil on the skin. Those are naturally beautiful on the skin. And look at and coconut oil is also a great sunscreen for makeup and things. You know, there are going to be natural plant products out there that will really, really help. And but just be really, really cautious because there are so many chemicals in the beauty industry of that are called endocrine disruptors. They like hormones, but they're not hormones. So I'm glad a lot of people aren't even aware that cosmetics and lotions can cause hormonal imbalances, but they can. Hopefully there'll be a good cosmetic line out there. And if you have any good ones, put it in the comments below to help others. Question 4. This is from Sarah Ahmed 7068. Hi, Dr. Bergman. Thank you for responding to my question in your previous video. How do I address the problem of vaginal dryness as well as forgetfulness, brain fog to enhance mental well-being during menopause? I strongly appreciate your efforts and advice. God bless you. God bless you too. When you're looking at this, vaginal dryness has to do with hormonal imbalances, and your body utilizes fat. Also, the brain utilizes fat. And when you're in a stressed state, you're not getting that nutrients. This is why a ketogenic diet about 3 weeks out of the month, healthy fats are going to help with healthy hormone production, and that's going to help with the vaginal dryness. Also, look at, and it's also going to help with brain fog. Look at collagen supplements because collagen is broken down. And the only way that we're alive is we get fatty acids from the fats, usable sugars from the carbohydrates, and amino acids from the proteins. And collagen is one of the greatest things for brain function, as well as diaphragmatic breathing. And then look at your sleep pattern changes because sleep is when the body regenerates. But increasing your fats, increasing the collagen intake, changing your sleep patterns, and look at prayer and meditation. All of these things are going to stimulate that parasympathetic nervous system because when you're in a fight or flight state, the systems don't work well. I mean, you're trying to run away from danger. And when you're talking about vaginal excretions, okay, that has to do with the parasympathetic nervous system. Just think like arousal. The way I would teach the doctors is parasympathetic is the pointing or the arousal. Sympathetic is the shooting or climax. So when you're in a parasympathetic state, then your body secretes the normal hormonal juices linked to that stimulation or that environment. So know that a sympathetic dominant state or a stress state will cause a decrease in excretions. And look at the physical, chemical, emotional stress. Question 5. This is from AFUA Warner. How to keep your libido up post-menopause. Um, Brilliant. Okay, when you're looking at this, physical, chemical, and emotional stress are huge. And then look at when you're under those stressors and you're exposed to a huge amount of endocrine disruptors or xenoestrogens, your body is in a massive chemical state or stress. So chemical assault. So look at your environment. Make sure you're putting lotions and cosmetics of a healthy variety. Make sure that your diet is free of hormones. So look at organic, pesticide free, look at healthy animals that raised without antibiotics and without hormones. All of that thing is going to limit your toxic environmental response or toxic environmental exposure. And your response to that is going to be that fight or flight response. So, and also look at the strong chronic state of stress at physical, chemical, and emotional stress. And know for the libido, you need the automatic nervous system. You need the parasympathetic, which is rest, digest, and repair. That's also located in the pelvis and in the neck. It's called cranial sacral. So you may have a structural imbalance leading to a chronic state of stress that you were able to adapt to when you had a different hormonal adaptation, okay, to the environment. And so, but now when your hormones are changing and your body is going from that 28-day cycle to repairing tissue, your body could be in a state of stress. So realize that stimulating that parasympathetic, and that is called the rest, digest, and repair. This is where prayer and meditation comes in. This is where self-care comes in. Yoga, just neurolinguistic programming. Journaling at night is one of the keys. I recommend writing down at least 10 things before you go to bed to prepare your mind for sleep. But write these down as affirmations or what you want your world to be. So, you have a loving, attentive, attractive spouse, okay, or mate, or romantic partner. And so this is going to be like ideal, where you're creating that, and write it down in the present tense as if you already have that. And if you do 10 of those before you go to bed, diaphragmatic breathe before you go to bed, then that's going to put your body in a parasympathetic state and help everything. And it's going to create your own world. Okay, literally, you're preparing your mind for that tissue regeneration that occurs during sleep, and you're creating your own environment. So you're going to help with the mental, emotional stress, and physical stress. Now, question 6. Oh, from the same person, AFU Warner. How do you cure sweaty palms, sweaty feet, and night sweats? Understand that's a sympathetic dominant state. So that's a fight or flight state. So everything that I just said, preparing your mind for sleep, looking at the physical stressors. We call it hyperhidrosis, and that has to do with problems in the thoracic area. So you need to get a corrective chiropractor to take an x-ray of that. But realize that the thoracic area is connected to the lumbar and cervical spine. So if there's been a trauma in the past, that will be identified in all the muscles that support the head, stopping them to the thoracic area. And adjusting the thoracic affects the autonomic nervous system, just like adjusting the pelvis and the cervical spine do. So know that this is a stress state, physical, chemical, emotional stress. But normally, actually 100% of the time so far, when patients come with hyperhidrosis, sweaty palms, sweaty feet, night sweats, that has to do with the thoracic area. And also there can be detoxing. So get to a corrective chiropractor, have them measure your autonomic nervous system. Thermography, live blood cell analysis, and digital x-rays and a nerve scan would be ideal. It's hard to find somebody that does all those tests. Question 7. The Renaissance Amazon. What? Menstrual cycles tend to wane around 35 on who? I'm with you on that one. You got to figure I don't want to do the whole, we have a new normal. With the toxic environment, and figure pesticides, a lot of them are estrogen based. A lot of the chemicals that are put on people's skin are xenoestrogens, chemicals in our food and environment. So you're living in a sea of estrogen. So we're seeing menstrual cycles start at 8-year-old kids. We're seeing menstrual issues, menopause starting early. There's a lot of things going on that would not be normal 100 years ago, and for sure not be normal 200 years ago. So you're right. We got to put What's common and not normal. And that's only common based on our stressful environment. Question 8 from Shania Leone. Uh, 34, 2 years postpartum, still breastfeeding, but no period. How do I get it back? The cool thing with how human beings work, when you're taking care of a child, okay, the body doesn't want you to get pregnant. So breastfeeding is fantastically good for your kid, fantastically good. And I recommend doing it. Breastfeeding can also limit pregnancy because your body is in this state of milk production, and they don't want you to have, your body doesn't want you to have multiple kids to limit the breastfeeding of that one. Also, having a newborn, okay, this is going to add to your stress level. And physical, chemical, and emotional stress cause the body to go into that fight or flight state, and that can limit implantation. It can limit fertilization. It can limit the carriage to full term of a pregnancy. So just know that looking at your sleep patterns, helping getting help with the kids so you can sleep through the night. If there's any night feedings, you can also. One of the things that I've done with my boys is that my wife would pump her breast, and I would take the night feeding where I'd get the breast milk out of the fridge and feed the kids. But look at the stressors that you're under. That will help, and keep doing the breastfeeding because it's really good for this kid. And then when you stop that, deal with the stress. Kid number 2, they're a lot of work, but they're cute. This is question 9. This is from Carly Simon, 8148. Also, can you please talk about endometriosis? My pain was so bad it made me vomit, void my bowels, pass out, and twice I went into shock and had to go to the emergency. They finally found a laceration in a place that they could not cauterize. I believe there are many more women who have it but are not diagnosed properly. Thanks, Doc. Your videos are priceless. God bless you, dear. Okay, so when you look at endometriosis, there's a couple of theories, and one of the ones that makes sense. You figure that the endometrium is the lining of the uterus. You've got the uterus here, you got the fallopian tubes coming off of it, and the ovary is hanging right outside of the fallopian tubes. And on the end of the fallopian tubes are these finger-like projections called fimbriae. Now the egg bursts out of that ovary, and there's little hair cells in that fallopian tube that suck that egg in. And if fertilization doesn't take place or there's not a good implantation, then the uterus contracts, expelling the endometrium out through the cervix, out through the vaginal canal. So when you look at that, you've got to have that pressure in that fallopian tube. Now, if you have a chronic pelvic subluxation or nerves to the pelvic plexus or lumbar plexus can also be involved. If you have compromised nerve supply to that, when that uterus contracts, it may not contract equally. The hair cells in the fallopian tubes may not be working. So during that uterine contraction, the endometrium can come out of the fallopian tubes and form a mass. That's what osis means. It means condition of. So endometriosis is a condition of that endometrium out of where it should be in the uterus, going through the fallopian tubes, forming a mass in the pelvic area. So it's going to be an unstable pelvis, disc injuries in the low back. There's going to be something causing that uterus to not contract correctly. And it's going to be altered function of the fallopian tubes. Now, endometrium, outside of that, you have cells called macrophages that can start to chew that up. Okay, and this is why bruises go away. You have these little eaters called macrophages that go in there and they chew up abnormally placed proteins, and so that the proteins aren't lost. So you can stimulate those cells by putting moist heat on, but you got to find the source of the problem. So look at, get to a corrective chiropractor, look at the pelvis, look at the lumbar, look at the gait, because if you have bunion formation, like if your big toe's leaning towards the other one, That means you've got compromised nerve supply to the foot, so the gait's going to be off. And if your gait's off, the pelvis is going to be off, and those are all going to be contributing factors. But if you do have beginning bunion formation, for sure you got an unstable pelvis. Endometriosis, 100% of the time, I find an unstable pelvis and disc injuries that are contributing factors. Question 10 from L.R. Davis 444. I had a complete hysterectomy due to severe endometriosis at 30. I'm now 61. I started estradiol pills and eventually changed to the patch. I still use the patch. I've heard many different thoughts. Get off, it's dangerous, or you will age in your bones, you'll lose bone. Any thoughts? Thanks, Doc. Appreciate you very much. I've listened since 2009-ish. God bless you, dear. Thanks. When you're looking at this, the chemicals that they give you, and they're going to call them bioidentical hormones, which is crazy because they're not 100% bioavailable and they're not identical. So that bioidentical hormone isn't really an accurate term for it. And the estradiol is synthetic estrogen. It's not normally what you're going to produce. And your body isn't going to metabolize it the same way your own estrogen is. And what they say is that you're going to have bone loss, you're going to have all these other things. But just think about this. You've got adrenal glands that are going to take over the hormone production. But in order to get a hysterectomy, there had to have been either bleeding or fibroids. And that means that your body has had some kind of toxic environmental exposure or you had compromised nerve supply. So let's fix the underlying cause of what caused you to get that hysterectomy. And forget the hereditary because you have 10,000 generations before you that didn't have that. So look at pelvic instability, look at beginning bunion formation, which is a clue that the pelvis isn't working correctly. Look at lumbar disc injuries, even cervical or thoracic deviations can alter how that pelvis works. So that's going to be one. Then look at a leaky gut, okay? Because if you have, and this is literally your enteric brain or gut brain, this is where your body breaks down and builds tissue. So this is going to be huge. So leaky gut, and that is literally the tissue production of your body. And that's going to be hugely important. Healing the gut, stabilizing the pelvis, fixing the actual problems that cause the hysterectomy in the first place. Then your body, look at cruciferous vegetables because your body breaks those things down and they can have a natural hormone or estrogen production. So cruciferous vegetables, there's also a few supplements that you can do to help with the hormone production, such as black cohosh, wild Mexican yam. But I don't want you to have that allopathic view of where, you're missing these parts, take this supplement. Strengthen the body, get the body to work correctly, get your body to metabolize nutrients correctly, exercise at least a half hour to 40 minutes a day. Look at walking has the best thing. Look at if you get a vibration plate, set it at 30 cycles a second to build the bone density. That's also going to help lymph. Look at your sleep patterns, okay? Look at our sleep restriction video. So when you're dealing with the physical, chemical, and emotional stress and increasing your supplements, okay, to whole food, and you're going to recover. You're not going to require those patches. And if I didn't get to all the questions, we're going to do whatever we can to get to as many as we can. And this is the end of the censored questions. For looking at the uncensored ones that I can speak more freely at, check out our site. God bless you all. Stay healthy, my friends.